Welcome to the Real Retirees of New Jersey, powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. Randy and Peggy Fisher want to help you retire once and retire right. Get more information at therealretireesofnewjersey.com. They never throw the first punch, but they're always a knockout.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. But most importantly, thanks for listening. This is the Real Retirees of New Jersey podcast with Peggy and Randy Fisher. It's all powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. You can get more when you visit therealretireesofnewjersey.com. You can find that and all the information here in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. Peggy, Randy, how are y'all doing today?
Doing great, Mark.
Let's start from the very, very beginning. A married couple for how long?
Too long.
So the anniversary, Mark, would be April 20th, 27 years.
That's going to do
Together, 35.
that doesn't work out to 35.
No, 35 together, married 27.
Oh, you got that right.
See?
What's the secret of 35 years together?
Of the secret of me not wanting to kill Randy is what you're asking me?
Mine's hearing loss.
It's the best. Yes, ma'am. Sounds good.
Happy wife, happy life. But
yes,
I don't even understand what she's saying anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Weren't you going to get that tattooed, Randy? Happy wife, happy life.
I got that on my right cheek. Butt cheek.
How did y'all meet?
This is a great story, Mark.
I'll leave this one for her.
And this is an insurance story, believe it or not, Mark. This is a great story. So my mother was an insurance agent back in the day for Prudential, right? Big agent. Randy's dad was a client of my mom's. And back in the day, you had to go into an office at that time if you wanted to get insurance. So Randy happened to get a ticket and his dad did not want him on the insurance policy anymore. And my mom was the insurance agent. So when they came into the office, my high school picture was on the back wall. And my mom came home that day and she's like, I have a date for you. And I thought she was crazy. And she said, oh, there was a real nice gentleman who came into the office today. And I gave him your telephone number. And that would be 35 years ago, Mark.
That's because her mother was desperate to get her away from the other that she was with.
No, more like Randy, I thought you were crazy. And so then we did go on our first date. And on
She didn't call me for a month.
That is true.
Long.
That's a true story, Mark. I did not call him for a month.
I called her like 100 times.
And I did not call him back. Finally, we connected. It was a blind date. And on hour one, we're sitting in a diner. And he looks at me, Mark, and he says, I'm going to marry you. We were 18 and 19 years old. I thought he was out of his mind. But guess what?
Got to know what you want.
5 years later, here we are.
35 years later.
Yeah.
When did you know?
It was like in between the French fries and a burger bite.
It's true.
I don't know. It was one of those things that just happened. I don't even know why it came out of my mouth. To this day, I can't even take it back.
You're stuck, man. It's more hassle trying to undo it at this point.
Oh, it is. So just live with it. Just live with it. The way I put it, I tell everybody, every day to me is like Christmas. I wake up, I never know what I'm going to get in the morning.
And that's a nice surprise, isn't it, Rand?
Oh, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
It is.
So how long have you been in the New Jersey area?
Yeah, so we're
both
from New Jersey.
Jerseyites.
Okay.
But we
Jersey
were from
strong.
totally different spots in New Jersey, like from one end to another. Randy was close to the city, and I was
because
definitely...
Jersey's so big.
Well, it can be. And I was more close to like the Hicks and Sticks, as I would say.
That's true.
Yes.
When I first met her, I thought it was Hazard County. I was waiting for Bo and Luke Duke to come out.
And when I first met him, we were on the Pulaski Skyway. I rolled up my windows and hit the lock button when we were heading to his house. I'll never forget that.
What did you think of each other's families?
What do we still think of each other's family?
Oh, that's the quietest y'all have been so far.
It is. I don't know what to say on that one.
my in-laws are still outlaws. Hey, listen, I didn't pick them. They just came along with the package.
Yes, that is true. And I feel the same way, Rand.
Happily married together for 35 years now. And let's jump to how Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors came to be. What's your background in the industry and how did you come together to create the services that you provide now?
Mark, as far as I go, starting is, like I said, I come from a really big financial family, as I say. It's in our blood. I always say this. My mom was a chief agent in the Prudential. My uncle was the manager of Prudential. My three cousins were all in the financial industry. My brother is a financial advisor. And my husband at the time too, came on board with my mom as well, started at Prudential. And so that's where Randy started. And I actually came from in high school and college, did the claims side of insurance as well. So I also have that background going way back to insurance as far as claims. But Randy, you can go ahead where you started.
Oh, I get time?
Yeah.
I get a little bit.
I'm going to give you some time.
I thought this was a Peggy podcast, not me and you podcast. But so it is true. I started I went to Rutgers. I went to the School of Management and Business, and I graduated with an accounting and finance degree. From there, I went on to work at Pruco Securities of Prudential for quite a while. For the first 5 or 6 years of my career, elevated to the top, hit like a glass ceiling. And I think it was 2004, I decided to basically go on my own and open our own firm. Mm-hmm. And from 2004 until about 2015, we operated as an independent financial advisory firm with insurance and financial services. And in 2015, I sold the company. And then that's when Peggy basically decided that she wanted to come out of corporate and into the public affairs. So we basically decided that we were going to put our heads together and figure out how we can work this out. And we basically built two companies. So we built Liberty Financial Group, which essentially concentrates on the insurance and fixed side of the shop, which concentrates on auto insurance, homeowners insurance, liability, disability, health insurance, annuities, life insurance, all that good stuff, the planning, stuff that Peggy really specializes in. My side of the game was financial planning, taxes, investment management, and wealth management. So that's where Artemis Wealth Advisors basically came from. And the reason why we split up the two companies was really just to put a division and a firewall down in between of it for regulations and things of that nature, but just to make it a little bit easier so people can understand. When you walk through the door and you have a meeting with us, we're both going to be in the meeting, or even our associates are going to be in the meetings. But essentially, it's both companies are basically taking care of your full needs. So it's a one-stop shop.
What are the challenges of being a husband and wife and working together on a daily basis?
Is that a trick question?
Why don't you go grab a snack or something?
Yeah, I'm just going to sit on the side here.
Well, that's a really good question, Mark. So the financial challenges is just if Randy and I, could bump heads in reference to certain things that we think would be good or not good. And then just the two of us in any argument, the great news is I could just walk out the door, walk down our steps and leave for a couple minutes.
Best time of my day.
Yes, Randy. And, but actually all in all, it's a really great thing to be a husband and wife team, because when we are sitting with clients, it's really nice to just see, I can see certain perspectives, Randy can see certain perspectives. And then afterwards we can talk about both sides. There's two people in a room who are seeing two different things sometimes, which is, can be really good for the client.
I think we do work well together. There's a lot of times where we're in a meeting and the dynamics between husband and wife are basically sitting across from each other. And there's times where I don't really connect with somebody, or Peggy connects with somebody on a different level. And then when we can all figure it out, we all figure it out for the most part, which is a real nice thing. But it is true. It's kind of like we have a segregation of what our responsibilities are. Yeah. And, Peggy does her thing and I do my thing. And then there's a lot of times where when the meetings are over, we kind of get together and we go over our notes. And there's a lot of times I miss stuff that I didn't either hear because I was talking too much, or I didn't pick up that she did, and vice versa. So it's nice. Mm-hmm. It's a good symmetry between us.
Are you able to shut it down? Like when you leave the office at night, can you go from being business partners working together to husband and wife, or is business always on your mind?
Well, business is always on Randy's mind. That is correct. Yeah,
that is true. But
we do say to each other sometimes, and our son, who also is in the business too, because when we all go home, there's 3 entrepreneurs there who all, have a lot to say at like the dinner table. But we have time to time just said, hey, listen, when we're home, we're home. Let's just shut it off for a little while. That way everybody's calm and everything's cool, especially when you're together all day and all night, talking about business. Sometimes it's nice to just go home and, worry about other things like cats, dogs, kids, and things like that,
I don't shut it down.
You don't shut it down. Is your brain always going?
It's always going. Always going, Mark. Always going. I get up at 4:00, 4:30 in the morning every day. I'm either reading or researching or doing something or figuring something else out, or, making sure that everything that we have to do during the course of the day or week or whatever it is taken care of. Yeah. So it's just, it's the entrepreneurial attitude, I guess. Whether I own the candy store or I own, financial firms and everything else, it's all the same.
Did you know this is what your life's work was going to be like when you grew up? I mean, no 10-year-old says, I want to be a wealth manager when I grow up. But at what point did you realize I've got a passion for this and this is really what my direction could be?
Well, I was going to be an FBI agent, Mark. So I don't know
Were you
about,
really?
I went to
She's
school
still
for,
undercover.
I went to school for criminal justice and psychology, even though I told you I have a bloodline of financial things here, But when Randy and I together, we have a really funny story about that. Actually, Randy called me on a car phone one day and he's like, hey, I had a really good idea, Peg. Why don't you come into the business? This is when he was selling his other business. I think the two of us would work fantastic together. So what happened, Mark, is I said, well, Randy, that might be good, but in another 10 years from now, because I announced to him that we were having our very shocking third baby on the way. On the phone, he goes, should I pull this car over? I said, you might want to, Rand, because our separation of our first two were 17 months. And then that third one was 7 years later. But it was just so funny that he happened to call me on the car that day to tell me he wanted me to come into the business. And I said, well, we might have a few more years on that one.
Could have been a second immaculate conception.
3 kids. You said one of your kids works with you or is in the industry as well. What about the other ones?
No, so
he actually has his own business. So he doesn't work with us.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we can put 3 of us in one room at a time.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's hard enough at the kitchen table half the time. But
they're so loud.
Yeah, it's a bit
very
crazy.
loud.
So, we do have 3. We have a daughter who's basically married. Her husband is actually training to be a pilot at the moment, and she's looking to get into veterinarian school. She decided to change careers from a doctor to a vet, which I think is even harder, but that's her passion.
And she just graduated this week with her master's degree in biomedical science. We're very proud of her.
Nice.
Then our middle one, he basically decided that he was going to go away to school for marine biology during COVID at the University of Tampa, also known as the Tampa Country Club.
Yeah, they have more pools than they do classrooms there.
We decided that it wasn't going to be a good idea to send him down there to just hang out and party and go to school in his dorm room for $40,000, $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right.
But we had a quick conversation about cheeseburgers and growing up and things like that. And he basically said that he wasn't interested in going to school any more or any further than getting a 4-year degree in marine biology and playing with Flipper. So I decided to say, it's probably not in your best interest to go there. And he decided that he was going to spend his educational money on opening up a business when my wife thought it was an absolute spacey idea during COVID. I think it was
there's no businesses running. And my husband, who we thank now, said, hey, listen, instead of paying for 4 years, yes, honey, you can write that down. Instead of paying 4 years of college, let's just open a store for him. So what he does is he's in the fish business. So he does fish tanks for people. He has a beautiful store that has saltwater fish and freshwater fish.
He started in high school out of our basement. At one time, I think we had about 6,000 gallons of water in our basement. We had a pool, which I call the pond. Peggy likes it to call the pool.
Wait, Mark, can I just take a step back to that one? I go down, envision this. You're walking down the stairs into your basement. I make a right-hand turn because I think I'm going to go get wrapping paper. What do I see to my surprise? A pool, a 6-foot deep swimming pool in our basement filled with what, Mark?
Fish.
Fish.
So a pool
Typical
that's
Tuesday.
filled with fish.
Typical
is called a
Tuesday. You're going to go
pond.
down to your basement. You don't tell mom what's happening. And there is a
Mark,
6-foot deep pool.
It was down there for 3 months. She didn't even know it.
That's not true. He's lying.
3 months.
I just how
3
big
months.
is your house? Business must be good. Damn.
It's located on the far right wing of the house, Mark. So my son opened a business in our basement, importing coral and koi and fish and everything else. So that's basically how he got to be an entrepreneur. And then we have let's get to the little guy. Our little guy, which he calls his big, beautiful baby.
He's 6 foot, 270-pound football player. He's my beautiful boy.
He's the laziest monster on planet Earth.
I love him so much. He's my little boy.
He's the typical Gen Zer. He comes home, lays in his bed. He doesn't come out. There's like a big divot in the bed.
Sounds like the perfect life.
It sounds like a perfect life, right?
It is. That's what he should be doing.
But
that's what he should be doing. He's a junior in high school having a good time.
So those are our 3 treasures.
And then we didn't even get to the animals yet. Should we do that?
All right, what you got? No, keep besides fish in your basement.
Okay,
on
so
the west
besides
wing
the
of the
fish in the basement, we do have the regular animals, which would be our
the other part of the ark.
Yes, that is true. We have our 3 dogs, and we now have 4 cats because our daughter moved back, so we have an additional cat.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's the insane home, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Meanwhile, I'm allergic to cats.
He is allergic to cats.
Story
and
just
I got
gets
4
better.
of them.
Yeah.
Remember the tattoo. Happy wife, happy life.
That's why I'm sleeping at the office. But listen, between the cats and the kids and the fish and the noise, what are mornings like in the Fisher household?
I go to the office to clean out my sinuses.
That's a true story, Mark.
It is.
Killing him slowly.
Gets to work at 6 a.m. just for some peace and quiet. Doesn't check his first email till 7:30.
That's why I wake up at 4:30.
Yeah.
So I can get a couple hours worth of peace.
She thinks I'm getting ahead of the day.
Yeah.
Just need some quiet. All right, before we wrap this one up, let's get personal. The perfect date night. Like you two, obviously, you work together. You do spend a lot of time together, but you're still happily married. You're still boyfriend, girlfriend. When y'all go out on a date, what does a date night look like for y'all?
So I think it looks totally different to each one of us. So I'm going to say my perfect date night. Yeah.
It's a podcast, so you can do PG-13.
Randy and I just took up dance lessons, which I love to dance. Yeah. So now we took up dance lessons. So my perfect date night is we go to our dance lesson and then we have a nice dinner afterwards. Right, Rand?
Yeah, it's like going to the proctologist every week.
Randy's perfect date night is us somewhere in Greece, Italy, or Spain, or France, on a date night. That right? Am I right, Rand?
100%. I would travel every week if I wanted to.
See, I do know you perfectly. Yes.
Peggy, I thought you were going to say Randy's date night is him alone in the guest house with Uber Eats. And all the kids and the pets on the other side of the house, leaving him alone.
I almost wish that would be easier than being away somewhere, right?
It's cheaper.
Yeah, it's true.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisor services offered through Artemis Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Artemis Wealth Advisors is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Randolph A. Fisher, insurance license number 9616074, and Liberty Financial Group, LLC, and Peggy Fisher, national license number 189-42003 and 570-5833.